Hello. I was gonna go live, but I kind of got half an hour left before I have to go and do the school run. So to set it all up and all that, I just thought I'd just do a video instead. Um, yeah, I just wanted to speak about well, the title of the video is I haven't written it yet, but that was the incentive to speak. Um, um, you can't go wrong when in flow. So you can't go wrong when in flow, or something like that. Um, yeah. So what do I mean by that? Ooh, how exciting! How exciting! The flow can't be wrong. The flow is perfect as it's appearing, as it's flowing. Um, so it can sound. It depends. Like if you've been listening to like like radical, what's called radical non-duality, or the new age non-duality, that talks about that exposes the illusion of a person, that the person isn't true, there is no one, there isn't a person, this is emptiness. um which is beautiful. So if you're used to just hearing that, then it can sound a bit confusing um when I say about following the flow or whatever. It can sound as if I'm talking about a person, the opposite of radical non-duality. Like I'm talking about a person and following the flow or something. So I understand it can sound like that, but that's not the way it's meant or felt to be here. It's just the way it comes out here now. I used to be more the other way, but the way it comes out here now is um, not so typical of that way of talking anymore. So I can get it can be confusing and like, what's she on about now? There is someone who can follow the flow. How do they do that? That's not what I mean. There isn't anyone to follow the flow. But this is the way. This is the way speaking happens here. It's just changed. So anyway, I'll continue. um, yeah, you can't go wrong when in flow. So what do I mean by that? Oh, it's very beautiful. Just being in flow. And it isn't someone in flow. This is what I was trying to explain. It isn't someone in flow. It isn't a person in flow. The character or the person that humans believe they are when they're identified, that one can try to be in flow, but this isn't talking about that one being in flow. It's the absence of that one, or it's the it's life happening um without that person, without that illusion playing as if it's true. So you could say it's a prescription, but it doesn't feel that way here. You could say it's an instruction, but it doesn't feel that way here. It's a speaking coming out of ultimately nothing, but it's a speaking coming out of the experience. It's the speaking. It's a speaking coming out of everything. Everything. Wholeness, everything. I was reading a book last night about, it's about love actually, but a part of it was talking about relationships and how men, it's just general, not every man, but just generally, that men tend to hold or go after power more than love, and women tend to go after more emotional attachment and love. Um, Not saying one's better than the other. It was just trying to explain the difference that can happen generally for a lot of men and women. Um, but even women going after love more doesn't mean they know how to give love or receive love. She was just saying how that's the tendency. We're conditioned to be more, hold more value in healthy, positive attachment, loving attachment, whereas men hold more value in having power, being powerful. And I was just like reflecting on it in terms of like speakers, like a lot of male speakers will tend to be more um of the emptiness side, not the love side, but the emptiness side or the emptiness flavor, and more about power, having that ultimate power, that ultimate place of power. Whereas from what I can see, female speakers are more into that, like being real, like more into like wholeness, more into like the human, and more into like the hearts that are like being genuine and being wholly human. Um, I don't mean to criticize either side in that, male or female. It's just a observation. Um, yeah, just an observation. Um, yeah, so yeah, it can't go wrong. It can't go wrong in the flow. Did I say what that was about? I think I did. I can't remember. It's just the flow. This, basically, this life appearing, life happening. It can't be wrong. It can't be wrong. Only the person, when there's an attachment to the mind, and the mind's like in charge, and you're living life through the mind as you, then it's very stressful and very confusing and very difficult, because you're trying to push your will, your way, your ideas, as opposed to the flow, what the flow is. And that's so beautiful. Doesn't mean you get what you want in the flow by following the flow. You may have an idea of what you want and try to attain that idea. Um, but it doesn't matter if it's a green light or a red light. Like, your flow may have been to follow that. Um, but when you're identified, if it's a red light, for example, it's like you'll try and force that. You think your will, your way is better than what the flow is saying. Your will is going to dominate and have power over this flow, and it's just not possible to. And that's lots of pain in that, lots of confusion and pain. Whereas your flow is so easy and so obvious and so loving. It's natural, the flow. It's so natural. Yeah, it's funny. I remember being confused by, what to do, which is the right way, and all that sort of stuff in the mind. But the flow is not bound up in that confusion. The flow just flows. It just is. It's just here. It's here living without that personal agenda, without that personal will. My will be done. It's like it's the will of this, the will of life happening, God's will, as they often say in religious circles, the will of this, the will of what's happening, the will of life, the flow of life. You could say you are that flow. and there isn't that domination of mind, of intellect, trying to drive the dream bus. Like it's this flow. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to know who you are, to know who you are. Obviously, ultimately know who you are. Ultimately, as not a thing, not a thing, not a goddamn thing. But to also know who you are as that fullness, as this fullness, as life, as all, as everything. To know who you are as well. That you are nothing, appearing as this fullness, as life. And then in that there's a character, the character with its particular ways and whatever it is, bundle of conditioning, bundle of ideas, but that's not really who you are. That's part of the functioning of this machine. But to know who you are as empty fullness, full emptiness, as life itself, then it can't go wrong. It can't go wrong in flow, as life. This is it. This is it. Yeah, so how lovely, eh? How lovely. It can't go wrong in flow. That's beautiful. Okay. Yeah. I don't know about doing a stream tomorrow. I might not. So we shall see. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the flow is at the same time. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. It is what it is. It doesn't take away from you. It doesn't add to you. It does nothing. It does nothing. How beautiful. Okay, so have a lovely day, and I shall see you again soon. Bye.